So, let's talk about River of the Gods by Candice Millard. It is her nonfiction book about the quest for the source of the Nile. God damn it, the Nile. Undertaken by Richard Francis Burton and John Speake. Seems to mostly kind of be focusing on the Burton side of things, so we're getting quite a bit of asshole, resentful, unstable, spoiled Speake as well. Um, Francis Burton, Sir Richard Francis Burton, is somebody who I have had kind of a on and off kind of fascination with for a long time. I first kind of bumped into him, I think, with Philip Jose Farmer's Riverworld series, where there's all these historical characters who are reincarnated on this giant floating world, which is a river running down like I think it's a giant tube. I'm trying to remember, but one of the historical figures that is in these stories is Richard Francis Burton. So that's where I first encountered him, and then I kind of made a point of reading various things on him. I remember reading kind of like a fictionalized account of his trip to Mecca, which actually is what opens this book, of him disguising himself as a member of the faithful, as a I think an Arabic man, and actually making it to Mecca, getting admitted there. This is somewhere where, if you're not a believer and probably not a European, you were not welcome, and is very much displayed as kind of a boy's own adventure. And it does have a bit of that kind of, ooh, will he be discovered kind of thing here as well. Though it's one of these, it's just like, it's that European kind of like, I don't give a fuck about your beliefs or your strictures. This does not apply to me kind of thing. And I mean, a lot of stuff did not apply to Richard Francis Burton. Someone who seems to be an incredibly brilliant, driven, intense man. Um, I have a copy of his translation of the Arabian Nights. Candice Millard mentions how he somewhat scandalized people for investigating kind of brothels and gay brothels and stuff like that at the time. He had no time for the kind of the mores of kind of Victorian England. This is like in the 1830s, 40s, 50s kind of era. And yeah, it's like he didn't give a shit. He did not give a shit. Was obviously someone who was either atheistic or agnostic in his thing. Very much felt it was quite sensible to study other religions other than Christianity, that Christianity didn't particularly have any great claims on stuff. This is a really well told version of this. I'm at this point, it seems like it's just well told. It doesn't That might be the most selling feature to it, versus it's anything greatly new. Um, and it's not really, I think in some ways it's putting what it feels like kind of semi lip service to the fact of, I'm writing yet another biographer of a great explorer, someone who's discovering stuff. It does point out, well, this is discovering stuff that had been inhabited for hundreds, if not thousands of years by other peoples who weren't white Europeans. And indeed, there's a whole thing here on the kind of the European maps being blank. And it's like, yeah, the only ones who get to put stuff on a European map are Europeans. The map making traditions of peoples in Africa, or Arabic peoples, is completely discounted and not used. It's like, well, we'll make up things before we'd actually use any of that information on the map, and there's very much a kind of a thing of this is discovering it for the colonial project. And indeed, this whole thing of finding the source of the Nile is definitely this thing of kind of a part of kind of a colonial project. So it doesn't really kind of pull that on as head on or kind of a different view. It's like there's some ways that this book could still be one written 40, 50 years ago, with just a little bit taken out of it, and it would be the same. It would be the same book, really. It feels like. So yeah, but I am enjoying it. It is really well told. So yeah, yeah, it's nice to have have a nonfiction book, which it's like, oh, this is well told. It's following some figures that I can kind of latch onto and kind of be interested in. This just bizarre relationship between Burton and Speak, and it's just like, why did you guys continually come together? And a part of it seems to have been Speak kind of kept all his simmering resentments hidden until it was too late, and they were in the midst of this second expedition, the first expedition going horribly wrong. Burton getting a spear going right through his both cheeks and into his palate. It's just like, oh my god, he ended up with ragged scars that, like, these super burning kind of intense devil eyes. I've seen kind of portraits of him, and it's just like, oh man. He spooked Bram Stoker, the creator of Dracula. If that kind of gives you that idea, if you're going to spook the creator of Dracula, you're a scary guy. You're a dangerous man. Um, and we also do get the kind of the romance of him with his wife Isabel, which um, is very kind of romance-y. You wonder if it comes because you're getting fed a lot of this information from his wife, who very much felt the romance of the thing. Um, yeah, yeah. So that's what I've got so far on River of the Gods by Candice Millard. More videos later.